And Jesus entered and passed through Jericho. And behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus, that was the chief among the publicans, and he was rich. And he sought to see Jesus, who he was, and could not for the press, because he was little of stature. And he ran before and climbed up into a tree to see him, for he was to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and saw him, and said to him, Zacchaeus, make haste, and come down, for today I must abide at your house. And he made haste, and came down, and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all murmured, saying, that he was gone to be guest with a man that is a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood, and said to the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. And Jesus said to him, This day is salvation come to this house, for so much as he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that which was lost. And as they heard these things, he added and spoke a parable, because he was near to Jerusalem, and because they thought that the kingdom of God should appear immediately. And he said therefore, A certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom, and to return. And he called his 10 servants, and delivered them 10 pounds, and said to them, Occupy till I come. But his citizens hated him, and sent a message after him, saying, We will not have this man to reign over us. And it came to pass, that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called to him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. Then came the first, saying, Lord, your pound has gained 10 pounds. And he said to him, Well, good servant, because you have been faithful in very little, have you authority over 10 cities. And the second came, saying, Lord, your pound has gained 5 pounds. And he said likewise to him, Be also over 5 cities. And another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is your pound, that I have kept laid up in a napkin. For I feared you, because you are an austere man. You take up that you laid not down, and reap that you did not sow. And he said to him, Out of your own mouth will I judge you, you wicked servant. You knew that I was an austere man, taking up that I laid it not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Why then did you not give my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required my own with usury? And he said to them that stood by, Take from him the pound, and give it to him that has 10 pounds. And they said to him, Lord, he has 10 pounds. For I say to you, that to every one that has will be given, and from him that has not, even that he has will be taken away from him. But those my enemies, that would not that I should reign over them, bring here, and slay them before me. And when he had thus spoken, he went before, ascending up to Jerusalem. And it came to pass, when he was come near to Bethphage and Bethany, at the mount called the Mount of Olives, he sent 2 of his disciples, saying, Go into the village over against you, in the which at your entering you will find a colt tied, whereon yet never man sat. Loose him, and bring him here. And if any man ask you, Why do you loose him? Thus will you say to him, Because the Lord has need of him. And they that were sent went their way, and found even as he had said to them. And as they were loosing the colt, the owners thereof said to him, Why do you loose the colt? And they said, The Lord has need of him. And they brought him to Jesus, and they cast their garments upon the colt, and they set Jesus thereon. And as he went, they spread their clothes in the way. And when he was come near, even now at the descent of the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of the disciples began to rejoice and praise God with a loud voice for all the mighty works that they had seen, saying, Blessed be the King that comes in the name of the Lord, peace in heaven and glory in the highest. And some of the Pharisees from among the multitude said to him, Master, rebuke your disciples. And he answered and said to them, I tell you that, if these should hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, If you had known, even you, at least in this your day, the things that belong to your peace, but now they are hid from your eyes. For the days will come upon you, that your enemies will cast a trench about you, and compass you round about, and keep you in on every side. And they will lay you even with the ground, and your children within you, and they will not leave in you one stone upon the other, because you knew not the time of your visitation. And he went into the temple, and began to cast out them that sold therein, and them that bought, saying to them, It is written, My house is the house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves. And he taught daily in the temple. But the chief priests and the scribes and the chief of the people sought to destroy him, and could not find what they might do, for all the people were very attentive to hear him. And it came to pass that on one of those days, as he taught the people in the temple and preached the gospel, the chief priests and the scribes came upon him with the elders, and spoke to him, saying, Tell us, by what authority do you do these things? Or who is he that gave you this authority? And he answered and said to them, I will also ask you one thing, and answer me. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or of men? And they reasoned with themselves, saying, If we will say from heaven, he will say, Why then did you not believe him? But if we say of men, all the people will stone us, for they be persuaded that John was a prophet. And they answered that they could not tell where it was. And Jesus said to them, Neither do I tell you by what authority I do these things. Then he began to speak to the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard, and led it forth to husbandmen, and went into a far country for a long time. And at the season he sent a servant to the husbandmen, that they should give him of the fruit of the vineyard. But the husbandmen beat him, and sent him away empty. And again he sent another servant, and they beat him also, and entreated him shamefully, and sent him away empty. And again he sent a third, and they wounded him also, and cast him out. Then said the Lord of the vineyard, What will I do? I will send my beloved son. It may be they will reverence him when they see him. But when the husbandmen saw him, they reasoned among themselves, saying, This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, that the inheritance may be ours. So they cast him out of the vineyard, and killed him. What therefore will the Lord of the vineyard do to them? He will come and destroy these husbandmen, and will give the vineyard to others. And when they heard it, they said, God forbid. And he beheld them, and said, What is this then that is written? The stone that the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the corner. Whosoever will fall upon that stone will be broken, but on whomsoever it will fall, it will grind him to powder. And the chief priests and the scribes at the same hour sought to lay hands on him, and they feared the people, for they perceived that he had spoken this parable against them. And they watched him, and sent forth spies, that would feign themselves just men, that they might take hold of his words, so that they might deliver him to the power and authority of the governor. And they asked him, saying, Master, we know that you say and teach rightly, neither accept any person, but teach the way of God truly. Is it lawful for us to give tribute to Caesar, or no? But he perceived their craftiness, and said to them, Why do you tempt me? Show me a penny. Whose image and superscription has it? They answered and said, Caesar's. And he said to them, Render therefore to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. And they could not take hold of his words before the people. And they marveled at his answer, and held their peace. Then came to him certain of the Sadducees, who deny that there is any resurrection. And they asked him, saying, Master, Moses wrote to us, if any man's brother die, having a wife, and he die without children, that his brother should take his wife, and raise up seed to his brother. There were therefore 7 brothers, and the first took a wife, and died without children. And the second took her to wife, and he died childless. And the third took her, and in like manner the 7 also. And they left no children, and died. Last of all the woman died also. Therefore in the resurrection, whose wife of them is she? For 7 had her to wife. And Jesus answering said to them, the children of this world marry, and are given in marriage. But they that will be accounted worthy to obtain that world, and the resurrection from the dead, neither marry, nor are given in marriage. Neither can they die any more, for they are equal to the angels, and are the children of God, being the children of the resurrection. Now that the dead are raised, even Moses showed at the bush, when he called the Lord, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. For he is not a God of the dead, but of the living, for all live to him. Then certain of the scribes answering said, Master, you have said well. And after that they did not ask him any question at all. And he said to them, how say they that Christ is David's son? And David himself says in the book of Psalms, the Lord said to my Lord, sit on my right hand, till I make your enemies my footstool. David therefore calls him Lord. How is he then his son? Then in the audience of all the people, he said to his disciples, beware of the scribes that desire to walk in long robes, and love greetings in the markets, and the highest seats in the synagogues, and the chief rooms at feasts, which devour widows' houses, and for a show make long prayers. The same will receive greater damnation.